My name is Kujo Yankson. Let me tell you how to turn back time. You can now bring back all the fun, all the excitement, all the controversy of the Super Morning Show and all your favorite Joy shows when you go to myjoyonline.com/podcasts. Just select your favorite show and bring it all back again. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Radio, Joy 99.7.
I am Benjamin Akako. On to our first story now. And health authorities in the Bono East region are worried about the number of COVID-19 deaths recorded since the outbreak of the pandemic. The region currently has a total of 58 deaths, representing 2.2% of the cumulative number of deaths recorded in the region, a figure above the national average of 0.7%. Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng, attributes the increased numbers to the late reporting of cases to health facilities. Anas Abit has more in the following report.
The Bono East region has recorded a total of 58 COVID-19 deaths since the outbreak of the pandemic. This represents a case fatality of over 2.2%, a figure way higher than the national average of 0.7%. Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng is the Regional Director of Health Services. He says the figures means there is a challenge with the way the cases are handled across the region.
If you look at our case fatality, which is about 2.2, way higher than the national figure, hovering even not 0.7, it means that there is a challenge with the way that we are handling the cases. And I can tell you a number of reasons. One of them is the atypical presentation of the Delta variant. The way it was presenting in people was quite different from the other ones that we knew.
Dr. Adomako-Boateng attributes the increased number of deaths to the late reporting of cases to the health facilities.
By the time you realize that, look, I am having a challenge, you report to the hospital very late. So you see one of the late reporting, that has been the challenge. And so you see, and then most of them are also happening in people with comorbid issues. And what we realize is that they may be having their normal drugs, but you cannot really control. They come to the hospital and you see that is what is the COVID. So one, because of the atypical presentation, not the usual things that we were looking at, that was one of them, and the time that they report at the facility.
He says as a means of helping rectify the challenge, the Directorate have trained more clinicians on the proper handling of COVID patients in other municipalities to help deal with case management.
We have heightened awareness among all health workers, especially aged people with comorbid issues, and more also people with all atypical presentation, because the COVID is not presenting us with the kind of normal. So you have heightened all the clinicians to be really be on high alert so that they can quickly pick the case. What we have also done is that apart from Holy Family Hospital, we've been able to train other clinicians at Kintampo Hospital. And then the idea is going forward, we'll train other clinicians at Tebubu, Kwame Danso, St. Teresa, so that they can also manage the severe cases, and we don't need to also end the critical, and no, we don't need to refer all of them to one point, which will make the management a challenge.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Tichiman.
On the back of that, we're joined by Anas Sabit, my colleague. Anas, how disturbing is the situation, and who are the victims of these numbers, that is the deaths recorded?
Ben, it's quite worrying because if you look at our region recently, the Ghana Health Service declared that it is one of the emerging hotspots of the COVID-19 pandemic, and usually it is the aged from the health authorities what are picked from them, the aged and people who are living with comorbid issues. These are mostly the victims who are mostly affected. If you look at our case count, we have a little over 2,400 cases, and 58 persons have died. This year alone, we have recorded 44 deaths from the figures at the Regional Health Directorate. And we look at the percentage, case fatality, you realize that we have 2.2%, which is way, way higher than the national average of about 0.7%. And that is what the health directorate is saying is quite worrying. If you look at the cases we are recording and the deaths we are recording, it's worrying, and more needs to be done to rectify this. They are attributing late reporting to the health facilities as the major contributing factor, because a lot of people would have to stay home until the cases are quite severe before they report to the facilities. That, according to the health directorate, is a contributing factor to why we are recording more deaths compared to the national average.
So we've heard, Dr. Boateng, we've heard from the health authorities, but the people themselves that you've been interacting with, how have they taken news of, this uptick in the numbers there, and what are they willing to do?
Yes, the region fortunately have some doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. As I speak to you, we have some vaccination centers. We have the AstraZeneca jabs for those who are taking the first jab, and then the Johnson & Johnson for those who are yet to take. And there's mad rush for these vaccines from what we have seen over the weekend. People are trooping in at the various vaccination centers to take these jabs because of some of these figures that are popping up. It's kind of a signal to the people that they need to accept these vaccines as early as possible. So they are worried, and they are hoping that these vaccines will come into the region in large quantities so that everyone will be able to have him or herself vaccinated.
Anas Abid, thank you very much for joining us. Anas Abid is our Bono East regional correspondent. He brought us the latest on that beat. Let's go international now and speak of the fate of Guinea's President Alpha Condé, which is unclear after an unverified video showed him surrounded by soldiers who said they had seized power. They appeared on national television claiming to have dissolved the government. However, the Defense Ministry said the attempted takeover had been thwarted by the Presidential Guard. This follows hours of heavy gunfire near the presidential palace in the capital, Conakry. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, regional bloc ECOWAS, and the African Union have condemned the apparent coup and demanded the immediate release of President Condé. The West African country of Guinea is rich in natural resources, but years of unrest and mismanagement mean it is one of the world's poorest countries.
Going on now, maybe this is going to be like another situation, other neighboring countries where negotiations, we've seen negotiations going on between coup leaders and government officials.
Right.
So maybe this is the kind of thing that is going on in Guinea-Conakry.
Right. Unclear, as you say, as to...
And that is the latest with regard to President Condé, who has been ousted in what some are saying is a military takeover by the Defense Ministry, of course, reporting that indeed that may not necessarily be the fact of the matter. And that video that cannot be confirmed by most media houses that have spoken about it, it is claimed that that is President Condé there in the company of some of those military officers who have taken him hostage, so to speak. We're going to bring you some details of some of the recent coups in Africa. And Guinea, on the back of the 2010 election, the 2010 election of Condé, Guinea's most prominent champion of multi-party democracy, was greeted with optimism by human rights activists and international organizations. Until then, Condé had been the chief critic of a succession of autocratic leaders, namely Ahmed Sékou Touré, who ruled from independence in 1958 until he died in 1984, Lansana Conté, who seized power in a coup after Touré's death, and Moussa Dadi Camara, who led a coup after Conté's death in 2008. So some details there. But there was a setback during Conté's tenure. One, ethnic riots between Malinke and Peul in 2012, and disaffected young people attacked an iron ore project run by Vale, causing millions of dollars in damage. There was also the incident of opposition protests and labor strikes, where security forces cracked down, drawing criticism from the United Nations and rights groupings. You would also note that Conte, while criticizing autocratic leaders himself, had shown what some people called autocratic leadership. The third point, 2013 to 2016 Ebola outbreak. The outbreak killed more than 2,500 people in Guinea and dealt a multi-billion-dollar hit to the economy. There also was that bit about Conde winning re-election in 2015, but more turmoil following as his opponents accused him of angling for a third term and starting to organize large street demonstrations. There also was that referendum in 2020 aimed to, among others, remove the presidential term limits, and this gave Alpha Conde the chance to run for the third term in 2020, which he did in fact win, and which term he was serving when this latest putsch actually happened. A look at the 2020 election. The lead up to the election last October was marked by sporadic violence between members of Conde's Malinke ethnic group and his main rival, Selou Dalein Diallo's Peul. Conde was declared the winner with 59.5% of the vote, but Diallo disputed the results, although there was relatively little violence once they were certified. And so we're bringing you some snippets of what has been transpiring in Guinea over the last few years, especially from the start of the tenure of Alpha Conde in 2010. When we return, we take a break here. When we return, we bring you some of the details as far as our president's comments on this latest coup d'etat. We shall be bringing you what exactly the ECOWAS chair, Nanado, had to say on the back of this latest coup. But right now, let's talk about the National Cathedral Project. And churches in Ghana are expected to dedicate 1 week every year for the next 3 years for prayers and special offerings towards the National Cathedral Project. That's according to the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Apostle Professor Opoku Onyina. Speaking at a fundraising ceremony for the project event here in Accra, he stated it was part of the many strategies to raise enough funds for the $250 million project.
In addition to the strategy of contributing a minimum of 100 Ghana cedis a month for the next 3 years, all Christian churches in Ghana will be expected to set aside 1 week every year for prayer and offerings towards the cathedral project. The period is to be labeled as National Cathedral Week. The weekends will be used to pray. The weekdays will be used to pray for the country and the cathedral project. On the Sunday, special offering is to be taken for the cathedral project. Corporate bodies in Ghana, as well as Ghanaian Christian and churches in the diaspora, will also be contacted to make contributions towards the project. 2 weeks after this national launch, that is on September 19th, 2021, we appeal to all churches to launch the fundraising at their levels to engender greater enthusiasm and participation. If the date is not convenient to any particular church, a suitable date can be chosen. During such programs, free will offerings and pledges are expected to be taken to support the cathedral project. Similarly, it is expected that the fundraising will be launched in all regions across the country. During such programs, free will offerings and pledges will be taken to support the project. Individuals and corporate contributors to the fund will have their names on an electronically generated Hall of Fame in the cathedral, where visitors can just click to identify and appreciate them. Individuals, families, churches, and corporate bodies who make huge contribution above a certain threshold would have their names embossed on one of the walls of the cathedral.
and that is on the National Cathedral project. We'll be bringing you some images now as far as the recent coup in Guinea is concerned. But before that, we'll also be bringing you some reaction from ECOWAS and the African Union, basically what they've been saying on the back of happenings in Guinea. Has been responding to the happenings in Guinea, and it's a joint communique on the coup d'etat, and it talks about how the president of the African Union, in exercising his rights as president of the commission, that is Felix Tshisekedi of the African Union, is actually giving power to the force at his disposal, demanding the immediate freeing of the president, Alpha Condé. In that statement, it also invites the Council for Peace and Security of the African Union to have an emergency meeting to examine this new development in Guinea and to adopt the appropriate measures to remedy the circumstances. So that is as far as the African Union is concerned. That is what they have been saying. There's also a communique on the political situation in the Republic of Guinea by ECOWAS, which is noting with concern the recent political activities in Conakry, condemning in the strongest terms the attempted coup of Sunday, the 5th of September, and demanding respect of the personal security of President Alpha Condé. The ECOWAS is also demanding the immediate return to constitutional order, failing which sanctions will apply, and is urging all defense and security forces to maintain a republican posture and express solidarity with the people and government of Guinea. And that is actually by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of ECOWAS and current chair of ECOWAS. That is dated only yesterday. Well, philanthropy, they say, is for the public good. Its role in community and national development remains very significant. And that is why at the Multimedia Group Limited, we are leading the charge with our classroom project to promote the provision of educational infrastructure in 2 communities. It is also an opportunity for you to be part of a good social cause and to promote social justice as well. Today on our campaign, we hear from a pupil and the head teacher of the Zonaili EA Primary School in Tolong in the northern region, appealing for your support to be able to complete their school block to enable them carry out academic work in a conducive environment.
My name is Muniru Baba. This is my school. We don't observe social distances because we are more than our classrooms.
We need help to complete this project because I don't think the PTA will be able to complete it. So if any assistance comes in and help us complete this project, we'll be much grateful. And even the teachers, we don't have a office or staff common room. This 3 is our staff common room, and at the same time a P1. So if we get help to complete this classroom and then the teacher's office or staff common room, will be much grateful.
Well, what you just saw is about the classroom project, which seeks to help communities construct 2 classroom blocks, one in the central region and the other in the northern region, as you saw in that earlier clip. For all your support and assistance, we accept Momo transactions. They should go to number 0593 038 832, 0593 038 832. The name on it is Joy FM, or to the Access Bank account number 00901010549191. I shall repeat that, 00901010549191, Castle Road branch. The branch code is 009 and the Swift code is ABNGGHAC. You may also reach out to us at our front desk for further inquiries on the number 0302 216540. 0302 216540. Now, joining us via Zoom, where we have Dr. Ben Okra, Executive Director of the Ghana Philanthropy Forum, to help us get a deeper understanding of the role of philanthropy or voluntary giving in community and national development. In fact, Dr. Okra is also the consultant leading the development of Safe School Policy and also the ICT and Education Policy funded by UNICEF. Thank you, Dr. Okra, for your time. First of all, tell us a bit about the Ghana Philanthropy Forum and how your work is impacting society.
Thank you very much for giving me this space. Yes, I work for the Ghana Philanthropy Forum, and we are connected with other global bodies like the WINGS, which is a global philanthropy wing, and then we have the African Philanthropy Forum and other philanthropic organizations. We are a philanthropy support institution, so we work at enhancing the environment for philanthropy to thrive. So that is basically what we do. Currently, we just started building a platform. We call it the National Philanthropy Impact Platform, which is going to help us with quantifying the activities of philanthropy within the sector. So briefly, that is what we do.
Right. Do you envisage, do you see the classroom project fitting into any of what you do?
Yes, it does, because talking about the need for philanthropists to kind of contribute to the overall development of the country, we see that perfectly because classrooms are important. It helps the students to be to have the peace of mind, to have this dignity. I remember those days where when we have events in school, you will be able to take pictures in front of your school with flowers around you. Some students, some of our kids or peoples don't have that ability or don't have that benefit. And just as I support in developing the Safe School Policy, safety is one thing in our schools, and it's very broad. We did develop almost 18 safety standards. Among them is the physical structures, the school environment, transportation to school. We have different safety features or standards that have been developed in this policy. It's very important for all of us to work at providing the enabling environment even for our kids within the schools. So I think it is very important. Normally we see government in their manifestos do talk about the need for them or their willingness to provide the enabling environment for philanthropy to thrive. And then also we see it in many policies. One of the policies being the PPP policy, the public-private partnership policy. These have an element of philanthropy there. And also when we talk about the SDGs, that also there is the notion that philanthropy can play a role in filling some of the financial gaps that we see. So philanthropy is very integral, and we have seen it demonstrated in many facets of the country. We have seen the demonstration of national philanthropy drive whenever the country or individuals see the need to support a cause. We saw it during the time of the flood, fire and flood disaster. We saw it also when this lady was molested at one of the banks that has to do with Midland savings. We saw how people trooped out and they gave out of their resources to support these instances. Just recently during the COVID era, we've seen how people have developed, have given funds and donations. The government has the National COVID-19 Fund, which has received a lot of donations. Then the private sector fund that has also received so much of donation. The CSOs also had a fund that also received a lot of donations. Individually, we have people donating. So I would say that philanthropy has a place in our development. If we can nurture it properly and provide a structure for giving, that would really catapult us to a very safe zone. The problem that we have in our country is the need for us to have data. Data on giving is lacking. So because we are not able to quantify the amount of philanthropy that is going into our development, we are not giving it the consciousness that is desired. But then if we can know the quantum and have a way to track it, then we can see the relevance of philanthropy in our development. So I think that is very important. One of the things that we are not seeing also is that from the part of government, we think that government should provide an enabling environment. There's a need for incentive for third-party individuals and corporate bodies who are also coming into development, because that is not their primary goal. But then if they have resources and it can help, then the government should provide an enabling environment. We don't see that. Yes.
Right, Doc. Do tell me, how can the public leverage projects such as these to promote social justice? How exactly?
The public can do this, especially when you take it from the community level. If they're able to own a project, they should be able to support it. The Ghana Philanthropy Forum is starting a drive into community foundations where we have communities setting up institutions that will work like NGOs, but then there are foundations that are established. They have a governing structure, they have an account, and then they have a board, and then they have, like strategic plans that is linked up to the development of their community. So they're able to map out community needs. And then, for example, if this school structure should be one of the things that the community wants to do, because normally these community foundations are patroned by the traditional leaders, the chiefs, so that if they can own it and they know that this is for them and they're developing it, that shouldn't be a challenge for them. While we were in I was in Western region, Shama district, where I met with the traditional council of the Shama district. And the chief was saying that they're just too tired with politicians who come in to promise this and do not do it. So now they want to take the challenge to develop their own communities. And therefore, they were ready to embrace the community foundation concept, whereby they will have their own development and then raise funds, in a more formalized way and be able to use it to develop their communities, as opposed to raising funds just to run events and festivals, and then after that, that's the end of it. They shall have to wait for another 1 year before they begin to mobilize resources. So if mobilization of community resources and funds are a continuous process where they do it all year round, I think that some of these community projects can be owned by the locals, and we can have some impact as far as these structures are concerned.
Dr. Okra, thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts on these matters. We're very grateful for your time. Dr. Ben Okra is the Executive Director with the Ghana Philanthropy Forum. More of the details when it comes to how you can contribute to help us help these communities and erect these two schools. And the mobile money number, which has the name Joy FM on it, has the number 0593 038 832. 0593 038 832. That's the mobile money number. We have a bank account as well at Access Bank. The account number is 00901010549191. It's the Castle Road branch of Access Bank, and the branch code is 009. You can actually reach out. The SWIFT code ABNGGHAC. Alternatively, you can reach out to us via our front desk for further inquiries on the number 0302 216 540. 0302 216 540. We take a bit of a break. We'll be right back on JoyNews Desk. Welcome back. Let's talk poverty eradication now. And Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz Ben Saleh has stated that one way poverty could be eradicated from the region is through education. He says education is the game changer and should be pursued by the people to increase their economic well-being. Dr. Ben Saleh made the statement at the Goripie in Wa East District, where he donated 200 pieces of furniture and other learning materials to 2 basic schools. JoyNews Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Goripie.
Social media a couple of months ago was awash with pictures of pupils of Goripie Ahmadiyya Primary School seated on a dirty bare floor in classrooms during instructional periods. Few of the pupils on the viral pictures could be seen seated on a single desk and wooden stools brought from home. The rest are crammed and packed like sardines, seated with their backs leaned to the classroom walls. Their legs are stretched to their elastic limit, a sitting position that a gym instructor will be comfortable with than a classroom teacher or a passerby. Why is the chief executive, Jotie Moses, lamented about the inadequate furniture at the school and other basic schools in the district?
We don't have enough furniture. There's no school in West East that has enough furniture whereby all the pupils can sit on chairs and tables to write. In some cases, you go to a school and then because of the inadequate furniture that we have in the district, we have dual chairs, and then you see that instead of 2 people sitting on that table and writing, you see that there will be about 3 or some of the cases 4. But there are some other schools too, you go and you realize that some of them cannot even get the furniture and they sit on the floor to read and write.
Such about the inhumane and awkward sitting arrangement of pupils of the Goripie Ahmadiyya Primary School that he saw on the viral pictures, Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz Ben Saleh came to the rescue of the school. He donated 200 pieces of furniture to not only Goripie Ahmadiyya Primary School, but to their counterparts in the Goripie Islamic Primary School as well. In addition, he shared among the 2 primary schools 1,000 note-worn exercise books. He also donated 2 sets of football jerseys and 4 footballs for the 2 junior high schools in the community. Dr. Ben Saleh urged the people to take the dedication of their work seriously, as it is the cornerstone to their personal development.
Education is a game changer. For me, my priority is education. Many households in the Upper West region has been transformed through education. That is why I want to urge all of us to place priority attention on education. If we are able to educate the people of this region, then gradually we'll be driving poverty out of our region.
Why is the District Director of Education, Isa Ibrahim Jason, thank the minister for the kind gesture?
It's a very big problem in the district and even the whole region. And we are all looking at him to perform. What made me more happy is that the tables and chairs, in fact, I've never seen the type before. Very beautiful and solid and cannot even spoil.
Our security personnel who are around here.
Rafiq Salam, Goripie.
It's all live on Joy News Desk. We take a break now for business.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Poultry farmers will soon receive free vaccines to help them treat the Newcastle disease. The United States Department of Agriculture has donated about 560 birds to the Accra Veterinary Lab, a subsidiary of the Veterinary Service Directorate. Eggs produced by these birds will be used in making Lesotho strain, a type of Newcastle disease vaccine to be given to poultry farmers whose birds have been affected by the disease without charge. There's more in this report.
Accra Veterinary Laboratory, a subsidiary of the Veterinary Service Directorate, will begin the manufacturing of Newcastle disease vaccines to be given freely to poultry farmers affected by the disease. Head of Accra Veterinary Laboratory, Dr. Theophilus Odum, explained the process of making the vaccine and how important it is to curing the Newcastle disease.
The Newcastle vaccine is produced through eggs. So we use the egg where we harvest allantoic fluid to prepare the vaccine. And this vaccine is one of the effective and potent vaccines that fight against Newcastle diseases. We know that it helps the poultry farmers, and the poultry farmers are aware. They want them. Sometimes when they come, we don't have it in place due to the lack of eggs. To get the specific pathogen-free eggs is very difficult. Sometimes we have to import it from outside or get them locally. But when you get them locally from here, many a times the eggs come contaminated with E. coli, Salmonella, and Campylobacter and other things. So we try as much as possible to get our own eggs from here. And with the support of GPP, as you can see, the farm handed over to us today, we can get our own eggs and produce the vaccine in abundance for all farmers, commercial, local farmers, and backyard farmers to use it in their farms.
A memorandum of understanding was signed between the United States Department of Agriculture and the Veterinary Service Directorate to officiate the handing over of the birds to the Directorate. Here is Deputy Director of the Veterinary Service Directorate, Dr. Darlington Owusu.
In this poultry, we'll have constant supply of vaccines for their work. And when we talk about SPF, what do you mean specific pathogen free? These are special eggs. The lab can use eggs for their vaccines, but most of the time when they buy from the open market, they don't get the correct mix of vaccines. Most of them will die. So this time they decided that with the support of GPP to get their own parent stock, rear them up to a point where they can lay the eggs that are clean without any infection, which will be used for the vaccine production.
Meanwhile, Chief of Party for the Ghana Poultry Project, Karianne Debois, stated that her outfit has the agricultural sector at heart, hence the decision to support the veterinary service to manufacture vaccines to treat the Newcastle disease.
The Veterinary Service Department in Ghana has been able to develop the I2 vaccine, which is less sensitive to temperatures, so it's much easier than to bring that into the communities. The I2 vaccines are being developed by where they need the eggs of the chickens as a basic ingredient to enable them to create dosages for the farmers to being able to vaccinate against Newcastle disease.
Then to other news for you this morning to do with the re-registration of SIM cards. The Minister of Communications and Digitalization has announced that Ghana has merged its Central Equipment Identity Registry with a global database. This is part of government's move to crack down on phone smuggling syndicates evading millions of cedis in taxes. At a press briefing Sunday, SOS Kufuor announced the nationwide SIM re-registration exercise, which will start on the 1st of October this year.
In 2019, on this very forum, we indicated that we would commence SIM registration in March 2020. However, due to the pandemic, we were unable to do so. I'm happy to announce that the ministry and all stakeholders in the sector will launch the national SIM card registration exercise across the country next month in October. The Subscriber Identity Module Registration Regulations 2011, LI 2006, mandates network operators or service providers to activate a subscriber identity module, SIM, only after the subscriber registers the SIM as directed by the NCA. Every subscriber is required by law to provide the name and residential or occupational address, date of birth in the case of an individual, certificate of incorporation in the case of a body corporate, or registration in the case of a partnership or an unincorporated body of persons, and provide an identification document as well. Only the national ID card, the Ghana card, issued to an individual shall be used for registration of SIM cards of citizens, foreign residents in Ghana, and foreigners staying in Ghana for more than 90 days. In the case of foreigners staying in Ghana for less than 90 days, a valid passport or other travel document will be required. This isn't the first attempt to register SIMs, but all previous efforts failed because of the lack of a verifiable, secure identification document. The above situation also led to the influx of pre-registered SIM cards in the system due to our inability to track and trace people who commit crimes with their SIM cards. The prevalence of fake IDs and the non-existent system of verifying the IDs also led to unscrupulous individuals procuring hundreds of SIM cards for SIM boxing, leading to the loss of revenue to the state and the network operators. The Ghana card provides the basis for a successful SIM registration exercise this time around.
And that's your business update for now. Sports is coming up next.
Welcome to the sports segment on Joy News Desk. I'm joined as usual by Oreku Ampofo. Is it?
Oh, Charlie, Black Stars.
Black Stars.
Yeah, Black Stars. Friday we came here, we had hope. I don't know whether the hope is still there because
after that performance against Ethiopia.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a very lucky goal, very fortunate one, going through the legs of the gaffer for Ethiopia. And I don't think we're going to keep getting that lucky, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the thing. And unfortunately, after the game, most of the talk that we've heard from the players and the coach is pointing towards the direction of, it's a qualifier. And so we needed the win. The most important thing is the 3 points.
In the bag.
Yeah, but I'm not too convinced. You're going to play, 5 games against very difficult opponents. When you go to the next round, you play a knockout tie as well against a seeded team. And so, as you said, I don't think long-term your luck could extend to that, that limit. When we qualified for the World Cup, remember we brushed teams aside. We were beating Egypt by 6 goals and all that.
Right.
If you're going to represent Africa at the global stage, then you need to start showing your quality. And so the game against South Africa today is a perfect opportunity for them to do that.
It's going to tell us whether or not we can actually achieve that dream.
Yeah.
You feel this is going to be some sort of thermometer to give us a good gauge of where we are?
Yeah, I think this is the ultimate litmus test for the team. If you beat South Africa today, you have 1 foot in the next round of the qualifiers. And I do think it'll put them in a very good position, especially because South Africa themselves, they drew with Zimbabwe in their first game. Right. A very disappointing start for Hugo Bruce. And so I think a win will not just give Ghana the edge, but also dampen the spirit of South Africa. I was speaking to a couple of South Africans and they're not too hopeful. We thought Ghana was bad, but they think Bafana is worse. And so they are at a very difficult period. The coach says that they are doing a rebuild, building up with young players and all that. So it's not
looks like
that
a similar
scary.
place we find ourselves.
Yeah. So I don't think it will be too much of a difficult one for Ghana, but it won't be easy. That said, and we're talking about the players that would be missing out for the Black Stars. And
7 of them, you said.
Yeah, 7 players. 5 of them coming from English. The English League, we have Jordan Ayew, Schlopp, and then Babaraman and the Yadom as well. I'm trying to remember the last person as well from England. But Daniel Mate of Leicester City. And then you have the 2 players, Daniel Kofi and then Kamaldeen Sulemana, who've also been called by their clubs. So that means that Akona would have 7 players absent who played against Ethiopia. So it would be a very new-looking Black Stars team, one that Ghanaians have to get used to. But as I stated, South Africa themselves is also a new lineup for them. So it's more or less 2 teams on the same level clashing this afternoon.
Well, finally, that clash is slated for 4 p.m.
Yeah, 4 p.m. Yeah.
And we've heard from Black Stars captain Andre Dede Ayew, saying that as they keep on playing, things are going to get better. Like you said, it's going to be a litmus test. So tonight we'll find out, or
Yeah,
this evening.
we'll
But
see how it
what's a possible lineup, very quickly?
So yeah, you can see that on your screens. Without the 7 players, we're expecting to see Hartlepool right back Fatau replace Andy Yadom at right back. Jonathan Mensah is also expected to slot in for Daniel Amathe. Gideon Mensah doing same for Baba Rahman. The midfield pivot of Akaso Idrisu would remain, and then Andre Ayew still keeps a slot. Kwame Poku would come in for Jordan Ayew. Yao Yeboah or Samuel Owusu could be in that starting 11 as well. Kamal Dino starting. Then Emmanuel Jesse there as well.
Is Kwame Poku the former Kotoko?
Yeah, former Kotoko players.
Right. Well, that's how we wrap up on the sports segment and Joy News Desk this morning. Check out more stories from myjoyonline.com. My name is Benjamin Akaku.